What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Play Twilight Princess. My name is Mike, and we are in Kakariko Village, going right back into Ronaldo's house, where Shad is located down here, in the basement here. And last time we assembled the missing pages of the Ancient Skybook, which is needed to open up the seal of this statue right here, which looks like something that we can move with the Dominion Rod, which, again, has restored its power. So we kind of had two things to do. We have to actually equip it. Skyward Sword is really messing me up with my item equipping, so I've been trying to play a little bit earlier. Oh my god! You're not playing Skyward Sword, come on. Which, by the way, I finished Skyward Sword last night, finally. And I'm happy to be done with it. It was a great game. I'm not saying happy to be done with it because I wasn't enjoying it, but I'm happy to be done with it because it's screwing my gameplay in Twilight Princess up badly. I've actually attempted to record this episode before, but I was just so bad at the game because of Skyward Sword I needed to run around and get used to the game again. So I'm trying this again. So again, with the Ancient Skybook restored, he can break the seal. As you can see, it worked. And now we can move this thing out of our way and see what's behind here and see what exactly will lead us to the sky behind this statue here. So, you need to stop talking, Shad, because I don't like reading text. And let's pull out our Dominion Rod with the directional pad. Good job, good job. And bring this thing to life. Now we can move it out of the way. This is all what this crap was about, just to move that statue out of the way. So, heading down here, we have what appears to be a cannon. So that makes sense, getting to the sky with a cannon. It looks a little bit beat up, and also it's kind of underground, and I don't think cannons work well underground. Have you ever tried shooting up to the sky underneath the ground with the cannon? I don't think it'd work very well. So we're gonna need to actually teleport this somewhere using Midna's teleport ability, something we haven't used in a while. I think like since Gerudo Desert, where we had to get the Bridget Eldon out of there. Something we didn't have to do, but anyway. If you recall, there's a person in Lake Hylia that operates his own cannon, and we actually use that to get to Gerudo Desert. So we're gonna need to take this to him, and he'll be able to fix it. So yeah, we're gonna have to take this to Lake Hylia. However, this is kind of an infamous room with this game. Because there's a way, I don't know how exactly, maybe it's only the GameCube version this happens, but there's a way that you can actually get stuck in this room and have to, like, reset your entire game if you save your game in here. And, like, because, you know, we can't warp this, cannon here, as you saw, because this guy's in the room, and Midna doesn't want him seeing us transform into a wolf. This is just such a sin for these characters to see us transform into a wolf. And there's a way that I've seen videos of this. I haven't had it happen to me, because again, I think it might just be the GameCube version. But, yeah. Like, for whatever reason, like he won't leave, and Midna won't let you transform because he won't leave. I don't know. I don't know how it happens, but it can really screw you up if it does happen. So, just be careful. Like, if you're at this part of the game, be careful about saving your game here. Just don't save here. Thankfully, he did leave for us, so we can just teleport this thing right on out of here and over to Lake Hylia. Not to the Ferron province, to Lake Hylia. And luckily Midna was convenient enough to, the warp point, I guess the warp point is set, so never mind. I was gonna say that the game conveniently sets you right next to where the cannon operator is. Who kind of reminds me... I don't know why he reminds me of him, but he kind of reminds me of the guy who plays the Song of Storms in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, that guy with like the... Oh my god, I can't believe I can't think of what those things are called that you like spin around. I feel really stupid for not being able to think of that, but yeah, just because he does that to move the cannon. I don't know why he reminds me of him. I mean, he's fat. Yeah, he has like a beer belly and everything. And he's a clown, too. A cannon-operating clown that fixes cannons. A lot of people consider this guy to be like one of the strangest characters in the Zelda series, but I honestly don't really... Like, I know it's weird, but I don't really see the strangeness of this guy. I mean, he looks strange, but he doesn't act strange. He's gonna charge us 300 rupees. Which is fine, I don't need him. And I don't know if I talked about the Mal's Mart side quest. I don't know if that was lost in the commentary of the last episode or not. Probably should have thought about that, but... yeah, this is side quest I could do to get actually this magic armor, which makes you invincible. But it takes up rupees as you wear it. Like, your rupees will quickly deplete as you wear it. But I'm definitely not gonna get it because it's just breaks the game. And even with 3 hearts, it'd break the game. And this game's easy enough as it is. But yeah, like what you would basically do is go to Mal's Mart in Kakariko Village, and there's this Goron there who's basically doing a fundraiser, and you just give him a bunch of rupees. And it's like a lot of rupees that he needs to, and you just have to keep grinding. And that'd be really boring to show anyway. And then eventually, once they get enough rupees, yeah, you'll be... And by the way, this took me forever to figure out using the claw shot to get up here. Yeah. Yeah, and then once you get enough rupees, they'll open up a Mal's Mart in Castletown. You can go there and you can buy the magic armor, along with other things. But I'm not going to do that because it's a waste of time, and this is just a basic playthrough of the game anyway. Alright, so up to the sky we go. And I believe this actually qualifies as the temple, this middle area, this area where you show up. Maybe not. Actually, following us is Uku, our lovely warping partner. We don't get him right away. There's actually kind of some split paths here. There's actually a shop up here, too. And this is actually the dilemma associated with this temple. There's a dragon that's tormenting this city in the sky, which is what this place is called. And this is kind of the land of the Ukus, and yeah, they're tormented by this dragon, and we need to go slay it. Pretty simple, kind of medieval type of story going on there, because we're like a, we're a knight type of hero person, and now we need to go slay a dragon. I can't get more classic than that, quite frankly. So I guess this doesn't exactly qualify as a temple, I don't know, it doesn't matter anyway, but over here, we can just follow along this Uku, so ignore the Dekubabas. And there's actually a shop in here. And yeah, pretty rare, and I don't think you ever see shops in temples in Zelda games, do you? But yeah, you can get like potions and stuff here. But the main thing that you can get here is, well, Uku. You can, our good old teleporting friend, we can get him right away, which is good for me. Because now that makes this recording session flexible, I can end whenever I want. And not have to like backtrack and stuff. That's kind of the problem with recording dungeons, is that you have to kind of do them in one big chunk. Because if you end your playing session, you start back at the beginning, and it can be kind of a pain to get through them. Especially this game, because the dungeons are pretty linear, and they're hard to kind of... Dungeons in this game are really hard to navigate. Just because they're just so big, and there aren't really any shortcuts, which is... I don't know, it's kind of a complaint I have about the dungeons in this game, really. There are, like, the thing I like about dungeons in certain other Zelda games, like, Skyward Sword does a great job with this in their dungeons, where, like, yeah, you go through the challenge of getting through it, and they're really time-consuming, but you know, they're easy to navigate because you can easily create shortcuts just by simply, like, you know, opening gates that briefly shut off an area that you're trying to go. You know, stuff like that. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that well, but if you've played the game, or if you've played... I'm trying to think of another Zelda game that does a good job. Oh, come on now. And speaking of Skyward Sword, I'm getting confused with it again with my item usage. Need the bow and arrow because there is a switch. Actually, I kind of wanted to hit it to be anyway, so. The switch up here, and yeah, as you can see, there's wind. It blows in one direction. That was pretty cool. I was able to hit that switch for being blown back. And yeah, you're going to be dealing with wind a lot in this temple. And it's a major element, obviously being in the sky. I like how the title thing goes on like right before you get to that door. It doesn't even wait for you to go through it. But yeah, this place is huge. Huge. Probably the biggest dungeon in the entire series. Difficulty, yeah, it's pretty hard to figure out like what to do and where to go next because it's so big. And yeah, you can actually use these ukus, kind of like cuckoos. And a lot of rhyming going here. Cuckoos. And yeah, using the same way, you can float with them. Is that hitting my mic? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Whenever I'm shaking my Wiimote like that, my wire on my mic hits the mic and it picks up. So I'm trying to avoid doing that, but it just happens. Stupid motion-controlled games. Ugh. No, I'm kidding. That is somewhat of a reference to some motion-controlled problems I had in Skyward Sword last night when I was beating it. I'm not going to talk too much about it because that would be spoilers. Just get away from these assholes. Yeah, these Helmosaurs, which turns out that is what they're called. I was kind of questioning myself about that earlier, but yeah, those are actually Helmosaurs. They don't look like the Helmosaurs that you see in other Zelda games. Like, who could forget the Helmosaur King in Link to the Past, who's always giving me trouble. And actually, right here, we have Mega. I think they're called Mega Helmosaurs or something like that. And you cannot get rid of their helmet with the claw shot like you could the regular ones, the smaller ones. And you actually have to like get behind them and slice them. And I was actually able to get a nice jump attack off on them there. Yeah, the best way to deal with them is the back slice. Here, these blue blocks, in case you haven't noticed, they fall once you walk over them. And you'll be seeing these all over the place in the dungeon. And there, of course, being a city in the sky, there are plenty of places you can fall down and die. Or not die, but get hurt. Actually, speaking of that, actually, is this the right spot? We're about to use a spinner, and something I want to talk about this dungeon in relation to a spinner is just questioning the game design here. Is why don't they use the spinner in this dungeon? This is just what I don't get about this game, and I'm sorry, I'm going back to critic again, but which I do often, it seems like, in this game, but you know, it's a very criticizable game. And okay, we're going to use the spinner here as a switch presser, and as you can see, we're going to eventually get a bridge coming out of this, but this is really all the spinner is used for in this dungeon. But don't you think, you know, as a dungeon like suspended over the sky, you know, you have plenty of places you just fall down, that would be perfect for those types of, like, you know, for the railing that you ride the spinner on to, like, move back and forth and jump from railing to railing. Why? I mean, that was so cool in the Arbiter's grounds. By the way, across that bridge is a locked door, so I'm not going to bother going across there. I need to go find another bridge. But yeah, like, that was so cool in the Arbiter's grounds, like moving back and forth for those railings. It was, you know, it was challenging, trying to avoid the spinners, and they just could have done so much with that in this game in general, and especially in a dungeon like this. It just seems like it fit perfectly. And it's just a huge complaint I have with this game. I'm just with the lack of execution with the items you get in this game. That you only use them in the main dungeons. I've talked about this to death. I'm sorry about it, but it's just something that's bothered me so much about this game. Fixed in Skyward Sword, the item usage is pretty well done there. You know, like the items you get early in the game are used just as often early as they are late. And yeah, you have to use this again. Just like, you know, why do you use the spinner for this? For switching these things? Why not, you know, like, why can't I just hit a switch for this? I mean, you know, I mean, this isn't cool. I'm just teabagging the ground for this. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's questionable. And enough complaining about the items for right now. I might complain about them later, because that's just what I like to do with this LP, is complain about this game, it seems. I don't know, I should go back to complimenting. This is a good dungeon, though. I will say that. This is a very good dungeon. Again, it's huge, has a nice atmosphere. You get to see a lot of different, like, creative puzzle designs. It is a good dungeon. And it's a good one to kind of... I mean, it's not the last dungeon of the game, but it's a good one to end, like, the main dungeons off with. Okay, this actually... I think you just claw shot up here. The thing is to pay attention to this with this dungeon is just pay attention to your surroundings. Because there's a lot of use of the claw shot here. And I got confused with this dungeon previously when trying it earlier. In that I just wasn't able to, I don't know, I just had trouble finding where to go because I couldn't see the places you can claw shot to. I just wasn't paying attention to my surroundings enough. But just keep paying attention to that, and you'll be able to get through this pretty well. Just pay attention to your surrounding, and just remember, you're going to be using the claw shot a lot here. But anyway, I think this is a good place to end this episode right here, with that small key being received, and in the next episode I'm actually going to meet you at the other bridge that we opened, and across that is the locked door this small key opened. So this is Micro217, and I'll see you for more City in the Sky exploring in The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess.